I'm Mark,
And I'm Josh.
and this is Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of October 5th, 2011, the second month of the new DC 52. I guess I'll just, every time there's a new month, the third month of the new DC 52.
Now you should treat it like a child. We're in week 5.
Yes. The new 52 is 5 weeks old, and this week, almost all of the issues that were supposed to come out from DC did come out. By that, I mean back in the day, and I hate that saying, but I just said it anyway. You could tell what books were shipping based on the week of the month. So if it was the first week of the month, you knew you were going to get Batman and Superman and Spider-Man. If it was the second week, you were going to get X-Men and some other stuff. And DC is kind of sticking with that. So the first week of the first part of the new DC 52, we saw 13 new books. This week we've got 12, and all of those were ones that shipped the first week of the first month. I took the scenic route to get there, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, we're going to start with something different. We're going to start with Severed, issue number 3 by Scott Snyder, Scott Tuft, and Attila Futaki. And we've talked about the previous 2 issues every time they've come out. And again, this one is just it's a winner all around. It's a great horror story. It's got great artwork. It's got great characterizations. We still have all of the previous issues in stock, so it's not too late to get into this excellent series. It's for fans of horror, fans of good comics, fans of Scott Snyder, who writes many good things. And this week, instead of going through a bunch of stuff that came out, I just picked the books that I liked the best. There was a lot of good stuff, but these are my top 5, and Severed makes the list again. So you should read it.
Also from Scott Snyder, Swamp Thing number 2. The first issue of Swamp Thing was well received, but was noticeably lacking on Swamp Thing until the last page. But Swamp Thing's in the whole issue this time, and we've got a more interesting story kind of going on. It's tapping into some of the more green in the history and the idea that there's always been a Swamp Thing. So we're actually interacting with one of the older Swamp Things from before the time that we're familiar with, and it still is a very strong read.
Action Comics number 2 by Grant Morrison, Rags Morales, and we get an art assist by Brent Anderson, which is fine with me. The book looks really good, and if it's going to keep the book on time, then great. So bring in some assists to help. I love what Grant Morrison is doing with Superman and with this book. I've mentioned before, Grant Morrison, I run hot and cold on, mostly cold, but he is knocking it out of the park with Action Comics. This is one of the books that all fans of DC Comics should absolutely be reading. We introduced to some supporting characters that we're seeing in different forms from the Superman universe, and it was just it's a fun, interesting new take on Superman, and that's what's great about it. How many times can we read the same storylines over and over, tweaking little things here and there, and this is completely new, completely different. This, I think, is the hallmark of what DC is trying to do with the new 52.
About 3 or 4 months ago, there was a story arc in New Avengers that revealed a 1959 team of Avengers led by Nick Fury, and we couldn't keep it in stock. All of the individual issues sold out before the arc was over. But now we have Avengers 1959. This is another story, still with words and art by Howard Chaykin, continuing where the New Avengers arc left off following the 1959 Avengers. It's a 5-issue mini, and the first issue was strong. It's a lot of fun to see, Sabretooth as a sort of vaguely good guy, and it's always fun to see Kraven the Hunter really anytime. So it's a nice mashup of Marvel characters you don't get to see a lot of, and you definitely don't get to see a lot of together.
Huntress number 1, this is a miniseries. This is the first of the new miniseries in the new 52, written by Paul Levitz with art by Marcus Toe. The artwork is fantastic in this book, and the writing is equally good. I am not a big fan of Paul Levitz's stuff. He does primarily Legion books because he loves the Legion, and that's just too many characters. It makes my head hurt, and I can't keep track of who's who. But this Huntress is excellent, and it fits right in with everything else in the new 52. It's a good introduction to the character. In the back of all of the DC books that came out this week, there's a column from Eddie Bergazza, or one of the editors at DC, and they specifically talk about this series, and they also mention, and he also mentions in the same breath, James Robinson writing an Earth 2 Justice Society series somewhere down the road, and kind of alludes to the fact that this might not be the same Earth as the Earth that we're seeing so far, alluding to Huntress's parentage from the previous DC universe, that her parents were the Batman and Catwoman of Earth 2 prior to Crisis. So who knows? This could be the beginning of Earth 2. Regardless, it's a very, very good read, especially if you're a Batman fan.
Also good if you're a Batman fan, and also a new #1 miniseries from DC. We have Penguin, Pain and Prejudice. This does a nice job of following the Penguin in the present timeline, as well as doing some flashback origin-y stuff, but it's more character development origin, not retelling things we already know. And I really liked it. They do a nice balance of showing the Penguin as being sort of vaguely sympathetic, but also being really, really evil. And if you're a Penguin fan or a Batman fan, it's definitely worth a look.
We're going to stay in the Bat universe for a little while here. Batwing #2 by Judd Winnick and Ben Oliver. If you recall, as I'm sure most of you remember every word I say, I really was impressed by Batwing #1. It came out of left field for me. I wasn't expecting to like it, and I walked away enjoying it a lot. And I also enjoyed the second issue, very strong. Really like Oliver's artwork. It's kind of photorealistic. Winnick is doing a great job writing this new Batman of Africa character. And again, as I said with Action Comics, one of the things I really like about this is it's a new character. We don't know anything about this guy. We don't know anything about his supporting cast. Batman shows up every once in a while, which kind of helps out. But it's nice to explore these new characters within the new DC universe, because it's fun. It's different. We don't know these people, and we get a chance to grow with them and learn who they are. So Batwing has impressed me two out of 2 so far, and we still have both issues in stock. We're planning on stocking the first 3 issues, give or take, of the new 52 for as long as we can, so that if you miss something the first time around, if you want to give something a shot a month or 2 after the issue came out, our goal is to have that in stock so you can try it.
Also, #2 from the new 52, Justice League International by Dan Jurgens, and probably some other people, Aaron Lepestre and Matt Ryan. Justice League International is doing a great job of giving you the feel of the original Justice League International. These are people that are sometimes petty, they're sometimes wrong, they sometimes infight amongst themselves, and just the wonderful spread of personalities you have is a lot of fun. I have more fun reading this than I do some of the more dramatic DC books. And that's all I need to say about that. Fun is good.
Are you done? My pick of the week, Detective Comics #2 by Tony Daniel and Ryan Wynn. Tony Daniel provides the artwork. I think Wynn is doing inking. I'm not sure why there's another person on here. Oh, we have 2 inkers. That's why there are 2 names on the cover. But Tony Daniel does the writing and the artwork. And if you would have told me, 2 months ago, that I would make a Tony Daniel book my pick of the week, I would have said, you're nuts. That's never going to happen. I just was not a fan of his stuff. I liked his art, but I didn't like his writing when he was writing Batman. But I'm not sure what writing classes he went to, what sort of workshops he's taking, who he's hanging out with, but Detective, issue 1 and issue 2 have been excellent. Daniel is firing on all cylinders with the writing, and the artwork in this book is phenomenal. I think it's probably the best Tony Daniel artwork I've ever seen. If I think that, I must be right. So I know it's the best Tony Daniel artwork I've ever seen. What do you think? There's some nice 2-page spreads in there, and it's the ending of the first issue was kind of a jaw dropper, and we've got another jaw dropper ending to the second issue here. The Bat universe is just so strong in this new 52. It's great to see. All the Batman books for the most part across the board, but the key ones, Batman, Detective, very, very strong, and that's why Detective is my pick of the week this week.
My pick of the week is Supernatural #1 by Brian Wood. You may remember from such books as Northlanders. Oh wait, nobody buys that. They're awesome, but nobody buys
DMZ.
them.
Oh wait, nobody reads that either.
They're awesome. Supernatural #1 was kind of a surprise. A lot of tie-in books, your media tie-ins aren't great, but it was very strong, which is, I guess, what you get when you get a good writer. But it's set before the series started, more or less, when Sam's in college and he's on a exchange trip over to England. But honestly, you don't need to know anything about the series to pick up and enjoy this. It's a great kind of fun, fish out of water, supernatural story. It's a great read.
And furthermore, there have been multiple Supernatural series that DC has done. We've got a lot of those in stock. So if you're a fan of the show, my understanding is you're going to like these books. I don't watch the show, and I don't read the comics, so I can't tell you for sure. But I know Supernatural fans are pretty rabid, and they're looking for any Supernatural stuff that's out there. So we've got plenty of comics for you to check out if you like Supernatural. Wrap things up this week with just a quick note. American Vampire Volume 1 out in softcover this week. Hardcover has been out for quite a while, about a year or so, and you know that Josh and I have been singing the praises of American Vampire from the beginning. If you've been waiting for an affordable softcover, now is the time to get it, to start reading American Vampire, because it is awesome, and you deserve to read awesomeness. You do, each and every one of you. And Scott Snyder deserves to make money on this. So come and get the American Vampire hardcover, softcover. We also have it in hardcover, and you will not be sorry. That'll do it for this week. We appreciate you watching. If you want to leave any comments, of course, leave those below, or questions, and we'll get to those. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/alteregomaniacs, or follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/alteregocomics. And thank you for watching.